What's up guys, City Striker here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about and predicting the main event of UFC 289, Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. And I've been thinking about this fight for quite some time now. I've been going back and forth. I originally thought person B was going to win, but then I kind of changed it to person 1. But now I'm going person B again, and the reason why I'm going person B, which is Irene Aldana, is there's the skills involved in predicting a fight. There's how well they're prepared, and then there's some X factors. And for the skills, I was watching Dan Hardy's breakdowns. He does pretty well breakdowns, pretty good. Sorry, but he was saying how Irene Aldana is the type of fighter who she sometimes has a trouble like going away from the game plan. She has a certain game plan, and then if an opponent does something that's different, like an adjustment mid-fight, that's going to give her problems. And, that's something I didn't really consider, because I was originally thinking Nunes was going to win, because she would be too much. Now she can fight out the southpaw stance. She's got the grappling, she's got the kicks and everything. But now Irene Aldana said during fight week that, she's kind of seen everything that Amanda Nunes can't do, essentially. Like, she's seen the striking. Like, now she knows that, she's got the southpaw stance. And if it was, different, if Nunes had just beat Pena, and then Nunes had come into this fight and she fought southpaw, that would have, thrown Aldana off, for sure. But it's very different now. Like, she knows everything that she's going to be getting. And I think that the fact that's a huge reason why I'm picking her. But also the fact that she's just gone out there and seen her teammate, basically one of her good friends, Alexa Grasso, just go out there and dethrone Valentina Shevchenko, which she was a juggernaut in herself. But she's seen that that monster can be conquered. That's going to give her even more motivation, considering that they both train from the same gym. And, seeing all these other Mexican champions, that's going to, that's part of the X factors. Because you got to consider those when going to a fight and predicting a fight. And also, Nunes was saying how she actually considered retirement when she lost to Juliana Pena the first time. But the reason she didn't retire is because she felt that, if it was anyone else, she could have done it. But she knew she was so much better than her that she had to come back and do it again. And that's a bit interesting of a statement to say. But, now she's acknowledged that Aldana is also better than Pena. But speaking of that Juliana Pena fight, there were some things going on with Nunes in the first fight, that was maybe affected her performance. But at the end of the day, she's had to make a whole change of game plans because of Pena was throwing her off a bit in the the first fight. The way she was striking, it was very awkward. But one thing that Pena did that Aldana can do better is using the jab and building off combos off the jab. You saw that when Pena was throwing combos and landing them and going forward, Nunes was getting stung, and she was kind of her striking did not look as sharp. And of course that could be due to her having COVID or whatever, but it's still pretty interesting to think about. But looking back at that fight, it made me think that Nunes has said in the fight week that she's basically got a perfect life. She's got everything she dreamed for. She's got all the money in the world. She's got her family, her daughter, and everything. Everything's well. She's a double champion, everything. But now that you kind of think about it, in the Pena fight, it did seem Nunes, as soon as she started becoming the nail, it wasn't soon before she started to she wanted to get out of that situation, because with all this reign of dominance comes, you know, you work so hard to get to that point that eventually, that at that point you're at, it's becoming your comfort zone. You're not becoming this comfortable because you've already had everything that you've dreamed for, basically. And so when you get in those tough situations, it's gonna be like, is your heart still gonna be as big as it was when you weren't in that state of comfort or not? Because we know with Aldana, like when things get tough, she's gonna give it her all in this fight. She's not gonna quit easily because she hasn't been to where Nunes has been. She hasn't reached that mountain that Nunes has reached, and that's gonna push her. And when things get tough in there, I think that's gonna make the difference. Like we're gonna see who has a bigger heart. And I think going to this fight, I think it's fair to say that, you know, Nunes is a better fighter, but Aldana might have a bigger heart. You know, even though, like, just based on like what we've seen from the past, like getting into those deep waters, which I think this fight is actually gonna be like a war. Like if either one can withstand that, to be honest, because Nunes hits really hard. She's the hardest hitting, you know, female fighter of all time. Out there with Chris Cyborg and everything, but Aldana also hits hard. Like, and the thing about Aldana is she hits hard with the right punching technique. So it's gonna make that amplify because of how sharp and accurate it is. But, you know, I just feel like as well, like it's starting to look like maybe the peak of Amanda Nunes, because you've seen her change her stance and with the southpaw and everything. But yeah, so it looks like she's kind of reached her peak. Like even though like they're the same age, I feel like Aldana has like more to learn at this stage, and because she's like so compared to Nunes, it looks like she's one dimensional, but she's actually got a great ground game as well. I think she won't be afraid to go for submissions and things like that. And, you know, she's always a fighter that, like, likes to go forward and, like, you know, trade shots and things like that. She won't be afraid of the fire. But the thing is Nunes is still going to be willing to put herself in the fire with all the things that she has at this point. And that's, like, a big, big X factor. But I'm going with Aldana.